car industry, yes, we had one once. Lovingly crafted vehicles that were as fun to drive as they were to look at. They sold by the bucket load all over the world. These days, well, Rover's future is anyone's guess, and these lovely sports cars amount to little more than a cottage industry. A cottage with a leaky roof and an outside lav. Can anyone fix the British car industry? British car industry? British car industry? I'll give you British car industry. Yes, it lives, and it's Japanese. There's Toyota in Derby, Nissan in Sunderland, and now here in Swindon, where they once made Spitfires. The fighter plane, not the rusty BL Roadster. This manufacturing miracle comes in the shape of the Honda Civic. Is someone having a laugh here, or what? This is the 7th generation of Honda's globe-conquering little hatchback, and there's a lot riding on it. Not only does Honda's continuing independence rest on the success of the new Civic, so do rather a lot of jobs. Jobs in this case for 4,000 British workers. In fact, when both factories are fully up to speed here in Swindon, Honda will be manufacturing 250,000 cars a year, a large chunk of which will be new Civics. Stranger still, they're actually going to be exporting them back to Japan. So, the British car industry then. This is it. All of which means I'm more nervous than usual about testing what is clearly a rather important car. This week, I'm going to do it from the inside out. So here I am, sitting on the back seat of another new car, somewhere I seem to have spent rather a lot of time this series. With particularly good reason on this occasion, because although the new Civic is actually slightly shorter than the old one, its wheelbase is much longer, which translates to this. Loads more knee room and loads more leg room. In fact, it's quite an unbelievable amount of space in a car in this class. And you can also walk to the front, because this has migrated from the floor to the dashboard. Why? Oh, I wish I knew, but it's a very pleasing little quirk on a dash layout that is otherwise about as memorable as a step song. Thankfully, Honda's engines have more substance to them. The new Civic is available with a lower tax 1.4 litre or a higher tax 1.6 litre engine, with a 200 bhp Type R to come. There will be 3 trim levels, but all models get airbags, ABS and air conditioning. Prices start at £12,000, rising to £16,000, pitching it against vicious rivals like the Ford Focus, the Volkswagen Golf and the Vauxhall Astra. So, is the Civic a potential victor, or potentially for Victor Meldrew? Neither, to be honest. Hondas are always beautifully engineered, so everything about driving the Civic has a precision to it. The engine is sweet, and it's eager without being all that fast. The gear change is absolutely superb. The steering's a bit light, but all the major controls feel nicely weighted and well balanced. Its handling is fun and ultimately forgiving, and its ride quality is terrific as well, even though the suspension is actually less sophisticated than it was on the old Civic. There you go, an inoffensive appraisal of a very inoffensive car. Which is probably the Civic's biggest problem. It's clean, safe, efficient and economical. The perfect car for all those people who just want to go from A to B. But surely there's more to it than that. Well, yes, there is. Now, you might think I've lost the plot, but this is actually pretty radical for a Honda Civic. The robots in Swindon are among the most advanced in the world, which is why these panel gaps are so incredibly tight. From behind, well, I suppose it looks a bit like an Audi A3. I'd say it was almost an MPV, except that there's going to be a full people-carrying 7-seater version next year. Now, this is a good one. If you're planning to get run over, then try to make sure you get run over by one of these, because this is one of the world's most pedestrian-friendly cars, thanks to this low nose and a big V in the bonnet. It's a highly likeable transport tool, the new Civic, and it should keep those factories ticking over very nicely. Of course, the irony is that this is exactly the sort of thing that Rover needs right now as it strides into its brave new future. What a shame that they're stuck instead with something that's based very closely on, yes, you guessed it, the old Honda Civic.